conversation to you. Have you received assurances that you will be back for next season?
Yes.
And what did you guys do in this offseason? Last season, you were in the same exact spot with offensive issues. You mostly just revamped the coaching staff, added a couple of pieces, and ended up in the same positions. How are we going to attack this differently this offseason?
Well, we'll get into the exact details of that strategy, and you never know exactly what opportunities will be there. It's clear to me we've got to improve the roster, and that certainly includes on the position player side. We have to do an even better job supporting our players, player improvement, because some of the offensive improvement has to come internally. And we got to continue to improve the way we prepare for games and the strategy around that. And we got to all be totally committed to, the game on the field that night being the most important thing. There can't be an ounce of energy going towards anything else but how do we win this game tonight? So I think it's all that. We have to commit to it. We have to do it. We'll get into the details of exactly what acquisition strategy we have this offseason, but we will improve the roster and confident we can do that on the position player side.
How important is the continuity for you, given that you're back, that Donnie's back, that you guys feel
I think it's a bonus. It's not a reason. This is a manager's too important a role for that to be driving a decision. It's a bonus, but what's driving the decision were all the things we talked about. The combination of the credibility, the trust he has in the clubhouse and the organization, his tenacity, his extreme will to win, willingness to do everything possible to do that. There's a lot more that there's a lot that goes into him being the right person for the job. It's an added bonus that there's continuity because it just helps us hit the ground running really fast.
Ben, what do you think you've learned that will maybe be different in roster building for this coming year?
Yeah, I think that first of all, we continue to learn, and I really do think are getting clearer on the types of traits in hitters that we're making a bet on. In Pittsburgh, we need to be making bets on guys who are not proven. We may be able to make some bets on guys that are proven, and we'll pursue that too. But some of the targets have to be guys who are unproven, and I believe we're getting more clear all the time on what the combination of traits are that we should be making the best bet on. So in terms of acquisition, that's what I would say. And then I think the other part of the roster angle of it anyway is that I really believe we can do a better job building a total roster that is just more functional and provides Donnie more opportunities. I think there were some times this season, not intentionally, but sometimes this season we got into patches where we just didn't have enough options to create good matchups up and down the lineup. We didn't have enough depth so you looked at the lineup 1 through 9 and felt good about the matchups to start the game, and also felt good that if we had to switch out during the game at some point, we had those matchups too. There were stretches where we just didn't have enough of that. So combination of the quality of the players, certainly we will add to the roster, but also the functionality of the roster itself. I think both of those things are things we need to attack. And then again, some of it has to happen through internal improvement.
And what do you kind of feel like you can do personally better to help put this team in a better position for 2026?
Well, I think about that all the time. I think some of it is what we just talked about, just continuing to learn from what we have done, from his decisions, the ones that have worked well, the ones that haven't. How do we continue to be more excellent in everything we do? Select better players, create a better environment, choose the right resources, the right tools, et cetera, deliver those to players. Some of it's that. I think certainly in my head, it's just an overwhelming amount of urgency and focus on the major league team. And again, it gets back to keeping the team on the field and the game that night the most important thing. I strongly believe in my ability to do that. We got to go do it and execute.
Seems like there's a lot of general fan pressure on some sort of changes to be made, and some people are and by bringing back the same manager, bringing back the same general manager, some fans are going to be disappointed by that. What gives you the confidence that even with that continuity, you guys can make some changes to help bring better baseball to Pittsburgh in 2026?
Well, first of all, we got to deliver better to our fans. That's very clear. It's in my mind all the time. I want to do that. Totally hear the frustration, and bottom line, we just got to deliver. That's our expectation to do that. I don't believe that continuity in certain positions reflects a lack of change. Our jobs are to change all the time. Our jobs are to find an opportunity tomorrow to change if we need to get better. So there's change is constant. It's happening throughout baseball operation, throughout our clubhouse all the time. We're talking all the time, even now, about who are the people that can support our players, that can work most effectively with our players. What are the tools? How do we improve the tools that we're delivering, the information or the tools we're delivering to our staff or our players, so that we're in a better position to improve or make good decisions. How do we continue to improve the culture? How do we build a culture in that room that, again, the only energy is going towards the game that night and winning the game that night. So change can happen in a lot of different ways and will happen, even if certain individuals are constants.
Then you mentioned the urgency with that. Is there more of a willingness to be more aggressive, whether it's multi-year free agent contracts, willingness to trade top prospects, etc.?
Yeah, I think we got to be ready to be aggressive in acquisition this offseason, whether it's free agency or trade. In our situation, we've got to be willing to assume the risk of trades, because free agency is not an open ocean for us. We're going to be able to be targeted there, and we will be. We'll try to be. We'll put ourselves in a position to do that the best we possibly can. But if we want to give ourselves every chance, it's got to be the trade market also. And we got to be prepared to chase down every single thing that we think has a chance to help this team win more games in 26. Execute on the ones that we can get to, and just be dogged about it all offseason.
Ben, Bob Nutting said in a statement of Donnie's extension that this year wasn't acceptable and it needs to be better. Has he given you the assurances that you will receive additional resources to improve next year's roster?
We've got the resources to win. We just got to execute. My conversations with Bob recently have been every combination of challenging, productive, difficult at times. I leave every one of them more clear on how we're both seeing this and what's important and how we're going to go about executing. I believe that, and we just got to go do it.
Ben, what's the challenge of operating an organization, baseball operations-wise, and under those restraints? When resources are limited for free agency or what have you?
It's the opportunity we're given, right? Like, we want to be part of delivering to our fans. The simplest way to do that, the best way to do that, the quickest way to do that is win more baseball games. So that we're playing, last week, fighting for October, not trying to kick somebody out. So that's the opportunity. We relish that opportunity. There's challenges everywhere. That's what you sign up for. We just got to get it done.
How does the strength of the pitching staff you have right now give you the confidence that if we add a little bit here, we'll be right there next year in October?
I think it gives us an opportunity. It's a strong foundation, and we're not satisfied. We had a good pitching season, overall effective pitching season. We can be better, and we're just as focused on that, candidly, as the offensive side, because wins come from everywhere, and we can't take for granted that this part of the team is okay and we'll just focus over here. We've got the pitching talent in the organization, I believe, to have a chance to be really good. There may be opportunities to add to that this offseason. So it's a good foundation, but we're not satisfied with it. We got to push it higher.
Ben, there was John Heyman had something out maybe 10 days before the season ended about it's more likely that the team tries to extend Paul rather than move on from him. He's probably going to win the Cy Young here in a month or so. I mean, where does the team stand on maybe his long-term future with the club?
Well, it's obvious that on and off the field, he is someone that we would want to have for as long as possible. Obviously, I think every team would say that. He exemplifies, just in my experience with him, he lives he walks the walk in every possible way, and we need. Not every player will do it quite like at the level he does, but we certainly need even more of that mindset and just approach toward his craft, approach towards winning, on top of the stuff he does off the field. So he's clearly someone that is at the center of our thoughts a lot. He wants to win really badly too. I expect that at some point, every year you talk about contract with everybody, so that's going to come for us at some point anyway. And of course, he's someone we'd love to have here for a long time.
You mentioned on your radio show yesterday that the players during their exit interviews really kind of stood up for Donnie. How much did that, if at all, influence the decision, or was it already made?
I think we were pretty far along, but not in the end zone, as Donnie said. We didn't really get to clarity until really recently. And it was helpful. It was not surprising. I think what I took from the exit meetings, again, more than anything, was just the freedom with which players, it seemed like they were willing to share and talk. And some of it was really positive, and some of it was critical feedback in some areas, and that's the reason for the meetings. So I think the sort of freedom with which they were willing to talk was what I was getting in terms of how their perception of Donnie more than any specific thing they said about Donnie.
Ben, when you look at the teams that made the playoffs, I mean, I think the Reds finished with, 83 wins, right? I mean, you guys are 12 behind that. It's 2 a month. Does it feel close?
Absolutely. It's sort of sickening on the one hand because I definitely think that it was possible for our season to play out that way. It did not, and we have to own that, absolutely own it. Didn't do a good enough job, period, full stop. But we simply are not that far away if you look at some of the teams that got in. Now, also certainly not, 83 wins is not the goal either. It's not, we wouldn't be satisfied with that, but in terms of being able to play in October, I do believe we are close, and we got really important work to do. It's not just going to happen by being passive and hoping for it to happen.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.